If you're new to chess, I bet you know this feeling. The game starts out great, you're making moves, and then suddenly, it just all falls apart. Well, today, we are going to fix that. We're going to dive into the single most important principle that will totally transform your game. It's all about one thing: awakening your entire army.
Oof, does that sound a little too familiar? You launch what you think is a killer attack. You feel like you're on the verge of winning, and then bam, the tables turn. Suddenly, your queen is trapped, your king is totally exposed, and the rest of your pieces, they're just sitting on the back rank completely useless. It's a painful lesson for sure.
So, what gives? Why does this keep happening over and over again? I promise you, it is not just bad luck. There's a fundamental mistake that almost every single beginner makes, and the second you understand what it is, you can fix it for good.
Okay, so here's the core of the problem. You're sending a lone warrior into a battle that requires an entire army. So many new players charge forward with just their queen, maybe a pawn for backup, while the rest of their forces are still, sleeping back in the barracks. I mean, just think about the basic math here. If you only move your queen and a pawn, you are literally fighting with two pieces. Meanwhile, your opponent, if they know what they're doing, is bringing out their knights, their bishops, getting their king to safety. You are massively and almost always fatally outnumbered right from the very beginning.
So what's the solution? What's the secret? It's this one single principle. To win consistently at chess, you have to use all of your pieces. You have to awaken your entire army before you launch your main attack. Now, the official chess term for this is development. It's just a fancy word for getting your pieces off their starting squares and into the game. Think of it as mobilizing your forces for the real fight. A piece sitting at home can't do anything. A developed piece is ready for action. And this really shows the difference, doesn't it? On the one hand, you have a lone queen trying to attack a prepared defense. She's just going to get pushed back, easy. But on the other hand, whoa, you've got a coordinated assault. Knights, bishops, rooks, and the queen all working together. Now that is how you create threats your opponent just can't handle.
Okay, you're probably thinking, but how do I actually do that? Well, it's not about memorizing a bunch of random opening moves. For hundreds of years, chess masters have followed three simple, let's call them golden rules, for the opening. This is your roadmap to building a powerful army every single time.
All right, rule number 1, control the center. Think of it like taking the high ground in a battle. Pieces in the center can go anywhere on the board. Second, develop your knights and bishops first. These are your fast movers. They're agile. Get them into the fight early. And number 3, and this one is so important, castle early. This move does two things at once. It protects your king, your commander, and it brings a super powerful rook into the game. It's the ultimate 2-for-1 deal.
Now that we know the rules, let's talk about the biggest trap new players fall into: breaking those rules by sending the queen out on a solo mission way too early.
See, when you bring your queen out right away, a good opponent doesn't panic. They're probably celebrating, because now they can just develop their own pieces by attacking your queen. So while you're forced to move your queen again and again just to keep her safe, your opponent is getting free moves to build up their entire army. You're just wasting precious time. Here's a really simple little mantra to keep in your head for the opening. Try to move each of your pieces once before you move any of them a second time. I mean, think about it, right? If you spend 3 moves just shuffling your knight around, while your opponent moves out 3 different pieces, who do you think is winning that race? Okay, so enough with the theory. What does this actually look like in a real game? Let's walk through the first few moves of the classic Italian game. It's a perfect example of all these principles in action. It all starts with pawn to e4. See that? One move, and suddenly white is staking a claim in the center and opening up pathways for the queen and bishop. Black immediately replies with e5, basically saying, hey, me too. The fight for the center is on. Next up, white plays knight to f3. This is a perfect move. It develops a piece, and it asks a question by attacking black's pawn. Black gives the perfect answer, knight to c6. It develops a piece and defends the pawn. This is golden rule number 2, just beautifully executed.
And now the bishops are joining the party. White plays bishop to c4, taking aim at black's weakest starting square. Black does the same thing, playing bishop to c5. Both sides are putting their pieces on their most active, most dangerous squares.
And here it is, rule number 3. Both players castle. Their kings are now tucked away, safe and sound behind the wall of pawns, and their rooks are just one step away from jumping into the fight. Now just stop and look at this position. After only 4 moves, both sides have their key pieces in the game and their kings are safe. The armies are balanced, they're mobilized, they're ready for war. This is where the real, interesting game of chess begins.
So how do you make sure you remember to do this in your own games, especially in the heat of the moment? Well, here's a simple checklist you can run through every single time you sit down to play.
First, always start by controlling the center with a pawn. Then, bring out your knights, then your bishops. Get your king safe, try to castle by move 10 at the latest. Connect your rooks, which just means clear out the pieces between them so they can work together. And finally, before every move, just ask yourself this one simple question. Is there a piece still sitting on its starting square? If the answer is yes, it's probably time to get it in the game.
Okay, so we've gone through the rules, the common mistakes, a model game. If you forget everything else, what's the one idea you absolutely have to remember? What's the core philosophy that separates beginners from players who are starting to win?
It all comes down to this simple idea. A powerful army beats a lone warrior. Every single time. Chess isn't a solo mission. It's a team sport, and you are the general. Stop thinking about what one piece can do and start thinking about what your entire army can do together. You do that, and you will start winning a lot more games.